Friends and enemies, welcome back to the CBP. Tonight, tariffs gone, or are they? Or were they ever even in question for us? I don't know. We'll talk a little bit about that. A lot of people saying Bitcoin is dead. We are not among them, but we'll talk about that as well. We have some stablecoin news. We have some Canada news, a fake Sparrow wallet, tons of stuff you got to keep your eye on if you're a Bitcoiner. But first, the intro.
And so, the government can say whatever they want about this thing not competing. It's for black market only. It's for this, for that. But they're really treating it like a threat. And one of the things that can't be attacked is your self-custody Bitcoin. And one of the things that can be attacked is the ETF. You can't be exposed to that. That's my view. It's not a good idea. And by the way, that'll hit MSTR too. It'll probably hit other stuff as well.
Friends and enemies, welcome back. Canadian Bitcoiners podcast.
Friends and enemies, welcome to the CBP. Wanna be better informed? Listen to Len and Joey. Spots is taken care of right off the top. Oh, Bitcoin and easy DNS. The media is feeding the slop.
Shout out to our guy, Derek, for that intro. I was supposed to meet Derek for beers a little while ago, but my wife had to stay at work and I had to watch my daughter, so we weren't able to link up. Hopefully sometime soon. Buddy, what's going on? Good to see you. How are things?
Yeah, very good, man. Very good. My daughter had a nice ski trip today. Came back tired. Yeah,
wow.
A good day all around. Everybody's happy. Everybody's tired. Everybody's ready to go. Spring is just around the corner, Joey.
The thaw.
Almost there.
Yeah, feels good.
Mentally, I'm there. Mentally, it's fucking summer for me.
I'm there, man. I'm so tired of this weather. I cannot. I was saying to Len before the show, like, obviously, if you're a frequent listener, you can hear my voice degrading week over week. I've been ignoring what I was told today is a nasty throat and sinus infection that I've accumulated some kind of colored mucus in the back of my throat. So I'm on some meds now. I got some nasal spray, and there are certain individuals who observe and digest this program who tell me that milk is the cause of this. Have you heard of this before?
Never. And I don't know. I mean, I have my fair share of dairy. I like cheese. I like yogurt and all
We're
that.
Italian. I was raised on dairy, like you got to be the same way.
You know what, with respect to this, is just, it sucks, but you know, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. I'm a firm believer of that for just about everything. Obviously, there's a few things that are,
what's on the short list of other things?
Well, I mean, watching Canada get whacked. To be honest, I watched exactly 0 seconds of the final. I watched maybe a minute of the semifinal because I was forced to watch it. It was put in front of me. Other than that, I watched nothing of the Olympics. So my wrists aren't slit. My hopes aren't dashed. I'm still going to go ahead, and life goes on for me. Doesn't matter who the fuck wins, loses, or whatever.
Can we discuss, by the way, someone in the YouTube comments, is either on YouTube or Twitter, told me that I should talk to you about this. Why is the Olympics doing 3-on-3 overtime in the gold medal game instead of 5-on-5?
I can't entirely answer that. Here's something that
he probably said it was better. The reason he said you would think it was better is because NHL 94 is 3-on-3, isn't it?
No.
Oh, so what? So what's going on around here? Who thinks that?
So I learned this week that the NHL has overtime 3-on-3 hockey. I thought it was 4-on-4, but they transitioned sometime in the last 10 years to 3-on-3. So I'm so far out of it. I don't know. The only thing I could think why they would do this is to guarantee they have a quick result. 3-on-3 in very open ice. If you miss one pass,
that's exactly what happened. It was over so fast.
It has to be, because this is on the last day. You can't have another New York Islanders, Washington Capitals type scenario where it goes 4 or 5 different overtimes and then it ends after the closing ceremonies close.
Who cares? Who cares?
I think they have a hard time, like a hard limit. They got to get this thing done. Does it matter in the end? Who the fuck cares? 3-on. They who's complaining now about? I haven't heard any complaints that the NHL has 3-on-3 overtime.
No.
In fact, I didn't even fucking know it.
To be honest with you, like I don't watch hockey at all, and so when I saw this, I'm watching it. I'm kind of like half watching, half lifting weights, and the overtime starts. And there's 3, like it's 6 guys. What is this? This is like road hockey. There's no shootout. There's no I don't. Anyway, congratulations.
The shootout's another one. They did this in Nagano.
I like the shootout.
But that's not proper ending, right? If you're gonna just you know what I mean. If you have a time limit, I understand.
What is more proper, 3-on-3 or the shootout?
If you have a time limit, obviously you got to put some gimmick in there. But if you don't do it like the way that they do overtime in playoffs right now, 5-on-5 until the last person stands.
Yeah.
Yeah, but they, if there's a time limit, because they have to get the next game in, or there's a closing ceremony, I get they want to throw the gimmicks out there, but whatever. It is what it is. I'm happy a lot of people didn't end up hanging in the front yard off the tree or something. A lot of people were so upset at what's happened, especially what's going on with the political side of things.
Yeah,
right. Like to watch Canada get absolutely to lose like this of all the teams, United States. Oh my God, it's the end of the world. What the fuck? The sun rises tomorrow. Who fucking gives a shit?
Don't worry about it. Yeah. Let's get to the sponsors. EasyDNS, best place for you to buy, sell, hold a domain. Can you buy, sell, and hold a domain? Probably. It's basically an asset class these days. Probably outperforming Bitcoin, to be honest with you. So Bitcoin is second best now. EasyDNS domains first overall in terms of returns. Look, Mark has been a friend of the show for a long time. Mark and EasyDNS embracing AI in a major way, and still keeping your domain safe, your mailing list safe, all those things with DomainSure and EasyMail for a couple extra bucks. You can't really beat the services Mark has. And on top of all the good things that you expect from a domain registrar, you get obviously from Mark, damn near white glove service as well. And then on top of all that good stuff, ETC Pay server, Nostr Relay, whatever your virtual private server soup du jour is, he's got you there. Go over to easydns.com, use the promo code CBP Media, and get 50% off your first round of buys. If you're already, what are you waiting for? Time to go.
I'd load up if I were you. If it's going to be the first round of 50% off,
load up on 3verse3sucks.io, 3verse3sucks.fm. Lots of domains out there for the enthusiast who's trying to restore greatness to a once great game.
Or maybe you like 3v3. Maybe you're 3v3 rocks or 3v3 rules, right? Depending on how you look at it. Either way, it is what it is. Let's talk about Bull Bitcoin, who's the other sponsor of our show. And we love it because that's where we do our buys. And I'll be honest, Joe, I don't know if you sell, but if I were to sell, I'd use them to do it. But I ain't selling. So you know what, Bull Bitcoin, you're not going to find my Bitcoin. It's coming to me only. Anyways, non-custodial, this is what you want in an exchange. So many examples of exchanges out there rugging people. You cannot get rugged from Bull Bitcoin because in order to facilitate that buy, you got to provide a Bitcoin address. And without providing it, well, the buy just does not happen. You could buy Lightning, you could buy on-chain. When the fees are getting a little bit higher, you could switch over to Lightning. But right now, fees are still relatively cheap. So that's what I suggest you do. You could pay bills with them. You can do limit orders. You could do limits, all this shit you could do. But the best thing of all, Joey, the best thing of all is how they treat you. They respect your privacy.
Totally.
They have never been hacked. They have never given up your information. They are the best in the game.
They're not pivoting. They're not pivoting to AI. They're
they're human. There's human people over there, and they will help. If you need some assistance, they'll help you. They'll be happy to help you move along and get you to the end game and become a Bitcoiner. Check them out, bullbitcoin.com. Our link below is there. If you do that, sign up with our code. Well, all the buys and sells are going to be cheaper in perpetuity.
25% off your fees. Big day for one of the guys at Bull Bitcoin today. I'm not going to say more than that, but we are waiting with bated breath for our brothers at the Bull Bitcoin HQ. I guess he's not at HQ today, but we're waiting anyways. So keep him in your thoughts. Len, do you want to do a little boosting and then we'll do some housekeeping and then start rolling?
Yeah. Okay. So these are the 5 top boosts this week. For people who are wondering why I'm not reading yours, well, if you're not in the top 5, you're not going to get read. Mo BTC Dick 500 sats. He says, I fear unrealized gains taxes will come to Canada. And when it does, I leave. The problem is, and I'm kind of in that boat too, because of family reasons, I'm stuck here.
Yeah.
But if you do leave, when that comes into effect, you're going to have to pay the piper. So the thing is, you got to front run that. You don't want to do the leaving after this comes into play.
We talked about that last week with Boomer. Yeah, you know, I think there is a chance that it comes here, and I think that you would be wise to start thinking about your exit strategy ASAP.
Yeah, it's very wise. It's always best to plan, and if you don't execute it, that's fine. At least you have a plan in place just in case, you're ready to go. Right. Again, Mo BTC Dick, another 500 sats, says, always a treat having Doomberg on.
Yeah, got a lot of good feedback on that show. One of the sort of, one of the benefits of having someone like Doomberg is that he's so well read that you can basically hit him with any question, any comment, any topic, and he's going to have something intelligent to say. But I will say that much like some of the feedback we've gotten, I think he really enjoyed being on the show. Didn't sound robotic. And, I think if there's one criticism of him, it's that he is just so well read and so bright and so has such a broad understanding of some of the major topics of the day that some of the stuff he says is like it's above your head, and it's something that he's given a lot of thought to. But I really thought that was a fun interview, man. I enjoyed talking to him, and I really enjoy having him on the program. And I will say, without going into detail, talk to him a little before and after. He's such a good dude, man. And him and that whole team there. I used to subscribe to Doomberg at the full cost, $600 something a year. I don't anymore. But I would say if you haven't ever subscribed to Doomberg and you're thinking about it, like trying it for a year, you're not going to regret it for sure. You may find that it's not as of interest to you as you thought beforehand, but you will learn so much about the energy world, the commodity world, and these days the geopolitical world, which is it's valuable for Bitcoiners and for everybody else. So yeah, I enjoyed that show. If you haven't listened to it yet, go have a listen, go have a watch. You'll like it.
Doug 525, he writes in, gold is not getting more valuable. Act accordingly. I would argue nothing is getting more valuable. It's just getting, if you're just using the United States dollar or any other fiat currency as the denominator, it's Business Cat 1337 sats. Boomer has immaculate vibes. Boomer, you have immaculate vibes according to Business Cat.
Somebody in the chat when we were talking to Boomer noticed he had the $70 version of Jason Lowry's Software, like the hardcover special edition, whatever. That's now unavailable, I think, in basically all the usual spots. So is that part of the vibe? I don't know. Maybe it is.
Did you ever read that or no?
I haven't read Software. No. Have you?
No.
I mean, maybe I should. We're kind of that thesis, I think, is going to become important if it's not already. So maybe I'll read it. I mean, maybe it's a bit of a stretch. I'm pretty busy, so I don't know if I'll have time. But I hear it's good anyway. So if you're thinking about buying it, maybe go pick it up.
You can't fucking buy it. The only thing you can find is the PDF copy.
That's right.
Which is readily available for anybody who wants to get their hands on that.
Yeah.
And even after getting that, you probably won't read it. At least I'm not. Hammertown OG 5,000 sats.
My guy
says donating to help subsidize your inevitable demonetization. Keep spitting truth and we'll keep sending sats. Once again, great show. Keep up the great work.
Our sponsors will never leave us for saying true things. That's for sure. So really shout to Mark and Bull Bitcoin and Twan over 256. That's where I'd be patronize those guys. We appreciate your support, but of course it's good to support those guys as well.
I have nothing else to add. Maybe I got to throw some quizzes out there, but that's about it.
No. So, okay, we mentioned the Doomberg episode. Go listen to that if you haven't already. And we were going to talk to Scott Horton last week, but there was an emergency on their end. And I will note that their team, very professional, let me know. And we will try and reschedule that for this week, hopefully. If not, then next. But he will be the next interview we do on the channel. I'm actually not in that big a rush to do that interview because, as I mentioned earlier, my voice is pretty dinged up at the moment. So I'd like to be closer to full strength when I do that. But look out for that. That's going to be the next thing we do in terms of guests.
Is that it for housekeeping?
Let's hit it.
All right. I want to talk about Sparrow quickly.
Yeah, let's do it.
I think it's an interesting discussion because it's for anybody out there that's using Sparrow. I think a lot of people that listen to the show either heard of it or I hope use it because that's the program that you need to, it's used to interact with your node.
Is it best in class, you think?
I think it's really darn good.
Yeah.
Cove is another one that is for your phone, but for my computer, and I just want to focus that particular sentence on your computer.
Yeah.
The Sparrows, I love it. You can show your balance, you can send and receive sats, you can sign messages, all that shit, all with Sparrow. And the one thing that you have to know about Sparrow, there is no phone app, right? This is entirely used on your computers, not for your phone, not for your tablet, none of that shit. You could use it on your PC, you could use it on your Mac, it could be on your Mac OS, Windows, Linux, all that shit. But Not available for iOS. Ditto for Android. It's not available. And so the question comes up, why am I bringing this story? Like, what's the fuck of it? Because there's something new that was on the App Store. It was under the name Sparrow Wallet app. Right?
Yeah.
And the only way to use this app, and this is according to a gentleman on X named Finn Strader, whatever, who gives a shit? Anyways, this dude, he says, or he writes, to use this app, you got to enter in your seed phrase.
Yeah.
Right. You have to end. So
how are people still falling for this? How is this possible? Help me understand. Put me in the mind of the app user.
If you have one person that and it's a few $100s, obviously I don't know how much effort they have to put into it to get it written, coded up, and then added to the App Store. But maybe, anyways, I'm assuming once you put your seed phrase in, they're going to drain your wallet because that information gets sent to the mothership of the App Store or app people, and they then steal your Bitcoin. This stuff happens periodically. It's not often, which is really good, but still it does happen, once or twice a year. And I find it disgusting to see this come up. And never, ever, ever, ever should anybody enter their seed phrase on a device that is online. That's either your computer, your phone, your tablet, whatever. The seed phrase should only be entered into a device that is entirely offline. You're talking about a air-gapped device, like, for example, a cold card, which could never be attached to something which is going to be online. And as such, the seed phrase will be safe from being stolen by anything that's online. That's why I always suggest using air-gapped solutions when you're dealing with stuff with your seed phrases. The App Store has been alerted that this app is a scam. I am not sure at this moment if they've removed it. Maybe, Joy, you could take a look. You're an iOS user.
Yeah.
And maybe you could tell us if it's still up there. But hopefully they removed it.
Is it just called Sparrow Wallet?
Sparrow Wallet app. And I'm hoping they did remove it. But all this goes to show is everybody needs to be diligent of your Bitcoin, because if you fuck up, there is no way to retrieve your Bitcoin. It's gone.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you are done. You can't recover it. There's no central body out there that is going to reverse the transaction. There's no way, nobody that could do this. You have total control of your Bitcoin. You could send it to whoever you want, and you can fuck up however you want. There's nobody there to help you out if indeed you fuck up. This is something I suggest people learn from others' mistakes. I'm not sure how many people fell for this thing, but never, ever put your seed phrase on a device that's online. Never. Because if you do, it's potentially gone. And if it's never put online, how could it be stolen?
Mic drop. The app is not there, by the way. So good, I guess. I mean, it's already probably yanked a handful of pennies from people. So I don't know what you're supposed to do about this. What do we try and do every week? We try and tell people, we try and give them information and, help them make decisions, not financial decisions, but decisions about, ways to view the world, give them a lens to look at things through. And I don't know what we're supposed to say about stuff like this anymore. How much sympathy, how much airtime, how much bandwidth can I give the app clickers, the fake app enjoyers that are still everywhere? It seems like, between this show and Access of Easy, every week we're talking about people losing money to scams for an hour minimum, probably. It never ends. And the other thing too, like there's a false sense of trust placed in the App Store, but many apps that you would view as quote unquote reputable do less than reputable things. It's not just crypto apps. I'll give you an example. I am, or was till this morning, an Evernote user. If you've ever used multiple devices, Len and I obviously have this podcast we've been doing for years, and I was using Evernote for a long time to like track notes and try and like go back to certain stories so that when I look at my research for the show, I can see like where things were 6 months ago, 8 months ago, whatever. That app cost about $100 a year, and I could pull stuff on my phone, on my computer, wherever, and it would all go to the same place all the time, auto sync, right? Because I don't have a Mac computer to do the show on, although I do have a Mac now, but I use my iPhone and my Windows computer. I noticed a charge on my credit card, Len, for almost $400 the other day. And Evernote I guess, has been sending emails that have been landing in my junk folder, because who lets, promo emails get to their inbox these days? They were raising the cost of the membership. If you were on their basic tier, they were going to upgrade you automatically to the pro tier, and the new pricing structure for almost $400 was like 360 something Canadian. So I emailed them this morning and said, hey, I ain't paying this. You got to refund this. And they, thankfully agreed. But the point I'm trying to make is that there are a lot of apps doing stuff that you would consider to be not quite above board. This is obviously not as bad as the Sparrow fake, but trusting the App Store to police the apps and the behavior of the apps is a mistake. There's too many other ways to do this. Sparrow has a GitHub. Like, you should know that if you're in Bitcoin. Sparrow has a Telegram. You should know that. Craig Raw is accessible. You should know that. If you don't, that's the other question I have. Is like, what people are competent enough to look for a Sparrow wallet app on the App Store, but not competent enough to know those two other things. That's a very narrowly focused Venn diagram, I think.
I think people have been in the space a long enough period of time, they understand.
Exactly.
It's more than anything, it's anybody that's new to listening to the show. I just want to raise awareness on what you should not do with your Bitcoin, and that is entering your seeds on a device that is hooked up to the internet. And as long as you follow that, I mean, and a bunch of other steps as well, but that's a good starting point. And like I said, with Bitcoin, there's no central body that could make you whole again. If you screw up, it's gone, never to be returned back to you. And that's your wealth. That's your time. That's all the effort you put into accumulating that.
Yeah,
it's gone. And yeah, you don't want to be another story.
Totally.
You'd rather just fly under the radar, keep your Bitcoin, and fuck it. That's the best way to do it.
Yes, sir.
Really quick one. Another solo miner got lucky again on public pool, and block height 937218. If you're wondering which block it was, I'm not sure what was a terahash that this miner was pumping out to achieve this lucky block, but well, he came away with over 3 Bitcoin as a result of this, and it gives hopes to a lot of people that are solo mining. But remember, this happens like once every month.
Did it not to interrupt you, did it happen before the increase in difficulty, like the rebound in difficulty, or no?
That's a good one. I don't know.
Yeah, I'd be curious.
It's the increase in difficulty was around 14%, if I recall.
Yeah, I think it was the highest ever. The highest rebound ever. Is V-shaped recovery, like the kids say.
Yeah, for 15%. There you go. Sorry, 15%. That's the biggest since 2021, and that was the China ban at that point. So that was the recovery at that point.
Yeah.
And when people wonder, what the fuck? Why did it jump so high? Like 15% now. Keep in mind, we came off a very cold spell in North America, so a lot of electricity was diverted away from mining Bitcoin to heating homes and businesses and so forth. And so that's primarily the reason why it went down and it jumped back up. But to go back to this one, the solo miner, again, I don't know if they're using a something with a few terahash or a few hundred terahash. I have no fucking clue, but there's hope out there for people that want to solo mine. But remember, you're up against humongous odds if you think you're going to win something.
Yeah,
I don't go out there thinking I'm going to win and start spending your money before you win. It's a lottery ticket, and at best, a lottery ticket is just throwing your money away. But you know what? Some people want it to do it. That's cool, and good luck to you if you do.
Len's just nodding. I mean, you should be mining. Isn't that the logical thing to say at the end of all these stories? Because we've done, I think, 3 of these in the last 4 or 5 months, 6 months.
Yeah, well, if you want to mine, I don't want to say you should be mining it.
Like, why?
Luxury?
Sure, fair enough. But it's good. It's not a bad idea to have something running in your house. Yeah, a bad idea.
Yeah, especially if you want to convert heat into sats. Why not? Smaller devices, you're probably not going to heat very much with them because they don't generate much heat, but they don't consume a lot of electricity at the same time.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's always better if you have a little bit more hash rate to go into a pool, so you have a steady stream of sats coming in on the daily, rather than solo mining. But you know what? If you're one of those lucky fuckers that get it, that's life-changing money right there.
Yeah.
And you could be retired. But every 10 minutes, right? Every 10 minutes, this thing fucking rolls. So who the fuck knows?
Yeah, it's good, man. It's better than going to the corner store, that's for sure, and less chance of getting stabbed by a doctor or engineer too, which is nice.
And getting stabbed, we could talk about the stablecoins who got it in the back. It looks like, because this is part of the Clarity Act. No more yield on stablecoins.
It's interesting. Like, you have on one hand this story in the Globe and Mail from
yeah.
Did you see this? I mean, I sent it to you. I don't know how much you read it, but like the interesting thing is, like, you have this story in the Globe and Mail about how Bitcoin is dying because of stablecoins. And it's written by a former Bank of Canada governor. I can't remember his name. I don't have it in front of me at the moment, but he's writing this op-ed for the Globe about how stablecoins wreck the Bitcoin, monetary medium of exchange use case. And I just think to myself, like, this guy was in charge of the BOC and thinks that stablecoins are the thing that's undercutting Bitcoin at the moment. That's really what he thinks. He thinks that stablecoins have the same target market as Bitcoin does, which is just completely wrong. What actually stablecoins are gunning for are weaker currencies like the loonie, like the euro, like whatever, that don't have as much stability and as much global demand as the dollar does. Like, that's what stablecoins are gunning for. And that's why, to the other, sort of fork, no pun intended, in this story, that's why the banking industry in the States is so keen on making sure that the yield on stablecoins is as low as possible, because people will go to that before they go to traditional deposits. And even though the case that Bank of America, who's basically the stalwart in the story, even though the case that Bank of America makes is, well, without those deposits, how do we loan to businesses? The fact of the matter is, the data shows that only like 18% of loans go out to quote unquote productive capital. The other 85%, 83%, 80%, pick your number, goes to unproductive capital, unproductive purchases like car loans, retail loans, whatever, debt, consolidation, all these different things, right? That's where the money actually goes. What the bank is telling you is they want to keep getting their little shreds on overnight loans and stuff like that, right? Providing liquidity. And it's just like, this is just such an obvious scam that it seems on one side you have the American bank saying, we don't want to give up the goods yet. We want to be ready to hold stable coins or whatever before we decide that we're going to do yield. And on the other side, you have former Bank of Canada governor. It wasn't Stephen Poloz, by the way. It was someone else. It was former Bank of Canada, maybe, deputy governor or whatever he was, saying that he thinks Bitcoin, like, color me surprised, a Bank of Canada staffer thinks Bitcoin is going the way of the dodo because of stablecoins. Just an acute lack of understanding of all of the angles, the stablecoin angle, the banking angle, the Bitcoin angle. It's hard to get everything wrong at once.
Do you believe in his heart of hearts, he believes this, or you think?
Yeah. Oh yeah. No, I think he does. I think he believes it.
I don't know. I think he's saying one thing, but he's believing something else.
Why do you say that?
Because nobody could even invest an ounce of time into learning about Bitcoin and then come out and say, "Oh, it's going to yield." It's going to lose to stablecoins. Like, there's, if you invest zero effort into learning Bitcoin and you just hear, "Oh, it's a scam, it's nothing," then I can understand that. But for somebody to, realize, okay, what is Bitcoin? What are the fundamentals? Nobody comes away and say, "Oh shit, you know what? This is going to lose to Bitcoin." Now, to stablecoins. I could see him saying that and thinking something else because he doesn't want to create any sort of
controversy or something. Yeah.
In reality, I think he believes, fuck, this is, he's full of shit by what he's saying. But this is just it's protectionism at its finest. What's going on here, right?
Yeah.
Like,
protecting the incumbents for sure.
That's right. It's the old boys club. They have the most power. They've been in there for the longest. They have the most friends, and they're gonna get all the help along the way to make sure that they continue to stay on top, right? Like, the ones that really are gonna get impacted by this, I'm wondering, like, Kraken, Coinbase.
I don't know.
They were going to be offering up some sort of pseudo bank type services where people.
I think they still will.
But they're not going to be able to offer and give interest like results, right? It's going to be some sort of rewards based on transaction usage or something like that. Like, that's bullshit, right? Like, if you have something in the fiat world, the way that they've brainwashed us to do things is you leave it in there, a large quantity of it, and you get something back as a result of it. Now they want you to use it, and you're going to get some sort of reward from it. Like, I don't know. That's, to me, that's like getting crumbs for somebody that wants to get something from their stablecoin. I don't know. Who's going to be using stablecoins in the United States, right? When US dollar is readily available. It's not like there's a shortage of US dollar that's floating around.
Do you want to hear one of the things I heard at the World Outlook Conference from somebody who has probably is in the, maybe not in the extra comma club, but close, and who is connected in the industry, banking industry, finance industry? The thought was that the Bitcoin crash that we saw on that Thursday, February 5th or 4th, whatever Thursday it was, and sort of the bleed out before that was a shot across the bow from the US government to Coinbase, basically saying, look, we can move this price with a number of different levers if you don't play ball on clarity. And you make of that what you will. I don't know if that's true or not, but you know, the other side of this coin, obviously, no pun intended, is that once this is signed into law, right now this is not a formal rule change yet, but once it's signed into law, you know, can we expect some price, you know, rebounding in terms of action? I don't know, but the thing about being an asset this big now, it's interesting, right? You know, years ago we never would have had this discussion because none of these people gave a shit about Bitcoin, and we didn't give a shit about them. And now, you know, we are sort of forced to at least discuss their point of view on certain things, whether it's stable coins or Bitcoin or whatever. And you know, I think that's overall a good thing. The other side of that equation, though, is that these guys have the tools to move markets that are much, much bigger than Bitcoin. And I would guess moving the price on corn is like, you know, it's nothing for them. They can do it easily with whatever tools they got. These are the same people that many gold bugs, for example, accuse of suppressing the price of gold, which I think is probably true, by the way. I think there was also some lawsuits about that.
How could you
spoofing?
I know you could potentially move it on a short term, right? And you could put some pressure one way or another, but over the long run, like
there's a lot of derivatives now, and I think the lever to set an actual price is always the same as it is in physical metals, which is you need redemption. And as long as there's, you know, 13 billion or whatever that number was, not 13 billion, sorry. As long as there's like 2 million Bitcoin on Coinbase, you know, whatever. If there's another million of with Fidelity's other custodian, whatever. You're gonna be able to move the price. You can use derivatives, you can use second order, you can use, you know, many different vehicles to do it, because if there's no redemptions, if there's no cold storage effort, then why do they have to, you know, that's when you get
that is
suspect
until
moves, right? Yeah.
And I've always speculated this is going to happen, the inevitable hack to this, right? And I'd love to see it. I'd love to see something like this take place, and even just a small amount taken off. This would really change people's opinion on the security of having somebody else store your Bitcoin.
Yeah,
that's what I would love to see.
It's not going to happen.
The sentiment would be pathetic, right? Like right away, the price of Bitcoin would fucking tank, but it would rebound. It wouldn't take that long to come back to where it was. It may take a few weeks, maybe a few months, but in the end, I think we'd be stronger as a community rather than where we are right now. Fuck these guys for holding on to somebody else's Bitcoin. Like, I don't understand, like, why we normalize this type of behavior, right? Like, we should be calling out every fucking moment. Somebody shouldn't be holding on to your Bitcoin.
It's early days still for these guys. You know, they're still learning the ins and outs of governance and self-custody. We've talked about that before. That's, you know, a very slow moving vehicle. And so at some point, maybe it'll change. But for now, like, I understand why they're not doing it.
I get it.
Yeah.
Just somebody needs to get burned. And then once that happens, then everybody gets that free lesson that somebody else paid for. And that's what I'm waiting for, that particular moment to happen. And I'd love for it to happen sooner rather than later. Let's talk about more home mining options for the home mining enthusiasts out there. This may be something of interest to you. A new device it's going to be coming to the market from the people at FutureBit, and the device is called the Apollo 3. And the specs on this are interesting. You have up to 18 terahash per second, and 13 watts per terahash for the efficiency. How much power this is going to draw, it depends on how you want to use it. As low as 50 watts, really, really low, and as high as 400 watts. And also, this can be its own custom full node if you want. And with that, you get 8 gigabytes of RAM, 8 ARM cores, dual NVMe drive bays, and it could run the Apollo OS 2.1 with a solo server. The device, it kind of looks like a gray plastic cubed that has rounded corners. It's around a 5-inch cube. Looks pretty interesting. And the device, as I mentioned, doesn't just function as a miner. It could also function as a full node if you want. Pre-orders begin February 27th at 2 p.m. Eastern. If you want to check it out, futurebit.io. And the connectivity, you have both the Wi-Fi and the wired options. And interestingly enough, Joey, it's ready to run even the latest AI apps, including OpenClaw. That's what they say. So these come in 2 different variants. You could go with just the standard version or the full node. And the miner itself starts at $899, and the miner and node start at $1,099. That's USD. And from what I gather, there's no storage that's provided to you if you order the miner and node option. So it's up to you to secure your own SSD. Good luck in that these days. The device looks pretty slick, though. I think it's good to have more options. It's good to have more competition. And I like to see this come out to the market. Good for them.
You know, it would be a useful exercise. We obviously have the 256 heat hash heater as a sponsor of the show. That's a lot more firepower than this thing. So compare or put on the continuum for me between the BitAxe and Twan's hash heater. Where is this thing? What is it? Give me sort of where is it close to? Give me some comps, some comparables. Who do you think it's good for? What are we talking, you think, in terms of noise and heat? Be curious to hear your thoughts. You're much more well-versed in this than I am.
They don't say anything about the decibels, so I have no idea about the sound. If I were to guess, I assume it's going to be very, very quiet. And where it lands on the spectrum between the BitAxe, which I have beside me, and one of Twan's devices, which I have sitting in the garage, it's closer to the Twan's, but not quite. It's about half to a third of the terahash. So, that's but you can scale this back to using as low as 50 watts.
Yeah.
So that's something that's interesting. You have different options out there if you want to consume much less electricity. Really cool. This is interesting. Like I said, if you want to run your own node as well. So you're going to be doing a node and mining with one particular unit. Very cool stuff. And a little pricey, I think, because all the prices I mentioned were in USD.
It is pricey. Yeah, you're paying for aesthetic. You're paying for aesthetic.
Exactly. It looks slick, like 5-inch cube.
Yep.
And the way they have it pictured, they have it on a coffee table. It looks at home over there. It looks like just a piece of equipment there that just trying to add to the decor of the room. Interesting. I don't know. I like to see options.
Me too. Me too. Yeah, competition is good. 50 watts, by the way, is like a 32-inch TV. Maybe like an average idle home computer, something like that. On the other side of the continuum, Twan's devices, I think max out at like 900 or something watts. I forget exactly what the number is, but it's pretty high. Which is basically the equivalent to like a bar fridge-ish, small chest freezer or something like that. So, you're sort of like, you're picking where you want to sit in terms of odds, for one, of hitting a block, right? How much hash are you going to try and expel? And then the other side is, do you want this thing to be a trinket or do you want it to be a miner? I don't think you can do both. And if I was going to do trinket, there's better ways to do it. BitAxe has a number of different variations and is, not quite modular, but close. What is the likelihood that you can upgrade this LEN when the halving comes in, another 2 years or, a little less than 2 years or a little more than 2 years?
Modular.
Exactly. So you can't upgrade, can't change the board. I would assume anyway. I'm not 100% sure on that.
No, because these are just
repairs too is another thing. You can say what you want about the guys who run S19s and S21s, and even you can be skeptical of Twan's devices. But the fact of the matter is, if you burn a board in one of these, you just get a new one. right?
Well, no, I mean, the heart of it is still an S19. It's the same components. You just swap out either the control board or hash boards.
Yeah.
So it's the same. The same maintenance and upkeep is required for either of the two. That's my opinion.
Okay, all right.
Former sponsor of the show, Letin.
Yeah.
They've done something apparently for the very first time, the world first. They closed a $188 million asset-backed securities issuance, and it's backed by its portfolio of Bitcoin collateral retail loans. Happened on February 20th, just this past week. The S&P assigned an investment grade of BBB- to this. Not quite junk category, but kind of close to it. And this is the first time they ever had a credit agency, and one of these major ones, issue an investment grade rating to a digital asset lending portfolio. This was apparently, they like this. Well, not they, people in general like this. People, it was more than 2 times oversubscribed. Letin says they're going to use the source of capital to fund loans, but it does not change for them how clients' collateral will be held. And they say this is going to open up the door for them to get more potential capital. And, well, who knows? More options that are available to them, potentially more risks. I don't know, maybe. So they're going to give more lending options to clients as a result. So this is just a continuing merger of fiat and Bitcoin. This continues to happen and will continue moving forward.
Do you want to hear a funny story?
Mm-hmm.
So Letin gets rated at BBB-, right? Do you know what sailor celebrated MSTR getting rated a few months ago? Saying, by the way, at the time that he was really breaking down the door and he would only see the MSTR rating go up over time as Bitcoin continued to appreciate and gain relevance. What do you think sailor was rated?
I would imagine the exact same.
No, B-, the worst. He's in the junk category. Maurizio at Letin is BBB-, which is still speculative, but not quite junk. So, what does this tell you? Okay. It tells you that in order to get into fiat lending or securitized lending using Bitcoin, you need a proper asset base that includes fiat assets. And Letin has done that here. MSTR is not. And you can say whatever you want about Sailor, and he's going on Natalie Brunell again this week for 2 fucking hours, telling her why all the bulls are right and all the bears are wrong. Great, maybe I'll listen to it, maybe I won't. But while he's doing podcasts, this is what actual financialization looks like in Bitcoin. Canada punching above its weight again. Love to see this. I might actually reach out to Maurizio and see if he wants to come on for half an hour sometime. Just tell me a bit about the deal and the backstory and all that stuff, because I'd be curious to hear about it. And he's still a friend of the show. I still talk to him. I shouldn't say fairly frequently, but he's always been a friend of the show. And as with all our sponsors, we left on good terms. So I may reach out and see if he wants to do a quick rip. Other thing I'll add is that if you are, like many people, considering what to do with your Bitcoin, you think you want to sell and you're worried about the taxes, I think that you're seeing this sort of thing take shape more and more, where Bitcoin is part of a broader collateral push. I don't know why you'd be a seller and not a user of Bitcoin in this way.
Because we saw in the past 2, 3, 4 months, the price of Bitcoin has gone down, and those that time it wrong are going to have to provide more.
This is an issue with position size, though, not with principle, right? Like that's the thing.
For me, pay the piper. Wherever the price of Bitcoin goes, if it drops 95% or goes up 10x, you're good. Yeah. That's the way I look at it. I'd rather not borrow against it. I'd just rather use it as it should be used, as a medium of exchange. And that way you are free from any sort of price action. You may kick yourself later on if it goes up substantially, but you may be thankful if it goes down substantially at the same time. And you'd have no idea which way it's going to go. Yeah. Don't fucking risk it. This is Bitcoin. You don't want to fuck around with it. If you're happy with the price, 64K, fucking use it. Use it to buy a car. Use it to buy a house. Use it to buy a boat. Use it to pay bills. Don't fucking borrow against it. That's my fucking
the duality of the podcast hosts. There you go, here on CBP Media. Anyway, where do you want to go next?
We talked about block fills last week.
Wobbling.
They needed to go out there and suck a lot of dick, and they tried to do that.
Sorry, is that the financial terminology there? I was looking on Yahoo Finance for that earlier. I couldn't find it. Can you give me the rundown on what that
means? You won't hear it about the traditional finance, but over here you will. So they tried. They needed to keep their heads above water, and the dick sucking they did wasn't enough because these are the clowns that painted their way into a corner, and they're going to be rugging institutional investors because of some poorly timed trades. And they're searching for somebody to buy them up because the losses they have are up to $75 million and counting. And somebody's going to have to purchase them. It looks like pennies on the dollar. Who knows? Maybe one of the bigger boys out there may want to use this as a way to increase their Bitcoin products or get into some new Bitcoin exposure by doing this. Could be an opportunity, but either way, the dick sucking didn't work for these guys. Don't fucking trade your Bitcoin. If you get fucking Bitcoin, just fucking hold on to this. The people that fucking use this, these institutional investors, I hope they don't get sour to Bitcoin as a result of this. You guys use some fucking stupid service. If you only bought and held, you'd be in a much better position. But you want to fucking trade your way up to the top? Go ahead. Fuck you.
Do you know what's crazy? That they have 2,000 institutional level clients, these guys. Did you know that?
Yes. Yeah. We talked about that last week.
2,000 institutional level clients. That's like the more I read about these guys, the more I can't believe I had not heard of them until last week.
100%.
Yeah.
And yeah. So like I said, a lot
61 billion in volume in 2025.
Like
an insane, that's a huge amount. That is we're on this show every week talking
block
about stuff.
Fills.
Yeah, never. Block fills.
The reason why you never heard of it, they don't offer anything to retail. This is just right. If you're a big boy, then you could get access to this, to their services, and you get to Bitcoin. You could have it traded up. If the market's going well, it's fantastic. But when it goes down, like it can, well, if you timed it wrong, you're fucked. And a lot of people
cooked. You get cooked.
And how many people or how many of these large institutions are going to look at this and say, "Oh fuck, Bitcoin's a scam. It's too volatile. It's all this." And like I said, if you just bought and held, you still have the same amount of satoshis regardless of the price of Bitcoin.
Yeah.
Wait long enough, it should go up. Should. Who the fuck knows though?
Not financial advice. Could be going to zero. We're not sure.
100%, yeah. Like the Lightning Network. I mean, very briefly, they exceeded $1 billion in monthly volume. A lot of people say that this shit don't work, but you know what? Somebody's making it work. We also had not too long ago the largest Bitcoin transaction, which was $1 million at the time, done on the Lightning Network. A single transaction of 1 million USD was done. So something is going on with the Lightning Network. Things are looking pretty good out there. And it's a good way to move shit off layer 1 to layer 2, where you could do it fast, cheap, better than credit cards.
Yeah, agreed. 1.17 billion in November 2025. 5.22 million transactions. That's a lot of fucking transactions. You know what the eventual admission that the Lightning Network is working from the naysayers is going to come when some first world government says, yeah, we can't see anything on the Lightning Network. We have to be able to verify those transactions somehow. We have to try and KYC these somehow. It can't be done, obviously, at least in the current build. But that'll be the admission from governments that, yeah, this actually does work as a medium of exchange and it's working too well. When is that going to come? Is that going to come this year? I don't know. But I think it is going to come at some point.
Well, I think Central African Republic first has to adopt Bitcoin again. And once that happens, remember that fucking rug pull those fuckers did?
Of course I do. Of course
we got a super chat.
Super chat from Derek, yeah. Pay the people who give you value, like CBP. Favor your own. What does it say? I can't read it here. I got my notes in front of it.
Favor your own
yeah, go ahead.
Oh, is what it's all about at the end of the day.
God bless you, brother. God bless you.
Yeah, like that is on a much larger scale. When you're dealing with a country that has a shortfall and you're continually running deficits, the best thing you should do is to kind of stop sending money abroad, or at least slow that down and continue paying what you're doing domestically, But once you're able then to have a surplus, then you can start going abroad and like deal with your own first, because they're the ones that got you to the dance. Once everybody's happy, everybody's belly is full and all that shit, then you can start spending abroad. But yeah, man, do yourself a favor. Your own people, those are the ones you got to deal with first. Fuck everything else.
Yeah.
BitDeer. Hey, they're doing what they got to do, and that's
we
cool.
We got to talk about it.
Yeah. Well, they recently sold all their Bitcoin. They're a Bitcoin mining company, and as much as 1,000 Bitcoin has been sold over the past little while by these guys. All gone. Somebody else now holds on that Bitcoin that they once held, and they say they need the money for expanding the operations, for getting into AI. That is the flavor of the day these days. Everybody's trying to get into AI. It's the darling of everything. It's a way to make your shareholders happy. And if this could make them more money, well, then it's good for them to pivot to AI, or at least explore the options and start opening doors over there. Because you know what? Ultimately, they have to make their shareholders happy. That's their job. And if they're going to do that by going to AI, good for them. And not too long ago, we had Bitfarms also pivot to AI. And
they left Canada too, by the way.
Where did they go?
They're in the States now. They're moving all their operations to the States. That's such a huge. I mean, well, I just want to add on the BitDeer thing, and then you have anything on Bitfarms?
Aside from that, they've recently pivoted to AI.
Yeah, we covered that last week. I didn't realize they were leaving the country though.
Same.
They're gone.
Just par for the course. Like
I just want to note that
switching.
I want to note that BitDeer did a $325 million convertible note offering too. So they're also getting into this like whole debt market issuance, whatever. I mean, make of that what you will. Sign of the times, I guess. The Bitfarms thing bothers me. It bothers me more than it should.
These pivoting to AI, moving, or both?
Both. Like Ben. I don't know Ben. Okay, seems like a nice enough guy, Canadian. He was the guy who was telling you and everyone else on this air and on other air that they were never going to get out of Bitcoin. Bitcoin was the future. It was the move. It was this. It was that. And then he takes over, and less than a year later, maybe a little more than a year, I guess. Later, he abandons ship. Like, not just some of the hash rate's going to go to AI, not just some of the company's going to pivot to HPC. We're going all in on HPC. We're switching the name of the company. There's no bit in the name anymore, no farms in the name anymore. And we're moving to, like Pikachu says in the chat, they're moving to Pennsylvania. That's it.
The moving, I mean, I can't speak on that. It's a different topic, and that doesn't really bother me all that much. But the switching to AI, I mean, if you own a company, Joey, you could do whatever the fuck you want with it, right? Because you're the sole owner or whatever the fuck. Like, you just do it.
Look what we do with this company. We're doing whatever we want.
Whatever the hell we want. We don't have to talk. But if it's publicly traded, it's a different animal. And so if you can move to a business that is going to be more profitable for the company, it only makes sense because you're doing something that is good for the shareholders and trying to increase their value. So when you look at it on that lens, I don't get too upset because, like I say, it's publicly traded. So they have a different set of responsibilities than a privately traded company or a private company.
I'm looking at the announcement from when Ben took over as CEO.
And he took over like a year ago. I don't know.
2024, he took over July 2024.
The landscape has changed since then.
It has. And actually, I stand corrected. We look forward to leveraging Ben's insights and experience as the company works to expand and diversify the business into exciting and synergistic new areas such as energy generation, heat recycling, energy trading, and drumroll please, high performance computing for artificial intelligence. Yeah, so they actually did it.
Even if they didn't say that, the one thing you should never do, period, is be so staunch and never looking to change your opinion.
Fair.
You always got to take the information in, digest that, and if that makes you change your opinion, great. But you don't want to say, I'm going to just be stubborn about this and not change. That's the wrong way to do things. And
unless it's cheering for the Redskins, which I've been doing for a long time against my better judgment.
Go team.
Let's go.
Were you old enough to watch them win a Super Bowl? I was.
No, I didn't see the Hogs there, the great Hog days. I did see that.
I watched the tail end of that.
Sonny Jurgensen passed away last week. Eh?
I didn't know that.
2 weeks ago, yeah, he passed away. Too bad.
Is Joe Gibbs still with us?
He is. He was on Kevin Sheehan's show. This is now the Washington Redskins podcast. He was on Kevin Sheehan's show a little while ago talking about the glory days there. And then also he coached in the early 2000s when Clinton Portis, Mark Brunell, Santana Moss were there. They won a couple of playoff games over a few seasons as well. Gibbs is probably the best. For my money, if I had like one season with any coach, a lot of guys would say Belichick. Some would probably say like maybe one of the Harbaugh brothers. I would take Gibbs. I would take Gibbs one season, any coach ever. That's the guy I would go with. Give that running back 350 carries, and let's see what happens.
He invented the H-back, didn't he?
He did, sure. Yeah. And they used Chris Cooley as an H-back for a long time in the early aughts as well. So he brought it back in the early 2000s.
Because of LT. LT was the one that
Lawrence Taylor.
Yeah. Apparently talking to people that the best defensive player ever. Maybe the best
easily
ever.
Easily the best defensive player ever. Yeah. Nightmare, menace. And he was coked up every game too. Sometimes is that good? I don't know. Sometimes is that bad? I don't know. But I wouldn't want to see him either.
Look at the highlights, the pain game. If you ever see that with Lawrence Taylor. I think that's against the New Orleans Saints.
Okay.
Where he couldn't even lift up his shoulder. Every tackle he made, he was grimacing on the ground because he couldn't but he fucking dominated and still carried a team to victory.
Monster.
So the pain game. Freak. Anyways, let's rock and roll. That's it for this side.
Let's go over then. We're going to the next side. Next segment. If you're with us on video, stay here. If with us on audio, come back tomorrow for more. And take care of yourselves in the meantime.
And don't be a fucking cock.
Yeah.
Don't you be able to be a fucking cock.
Don't do that.
Aliens, buddy. Let's talk about aliens.
What a weird. There's so
I don't want to
weird
talk
shit
about
going on. So much weird shit.
Right? Like, why even talk about this? It just came out of left field. I'm going to release all this information about aliens. Obama did some shit.
Obama and Trump, like they're reading from the same playbook. Is that what's going on? Like,
I don't know what the fuck's going on. It's shit.
All I can think about is how is this going to somehow distract me from another 1 million third world immigrants coming into North America? Well, is this the plan? What's going on?
They're going to flood in all from Mexico. Right? that wall that was never built, it's going to fucking be shown as like, wow, look at the holes over there at the border because they're going to come flooding in, and I can understand why.
Yeah.
What a fucking joke. All right. The Supreme Court of the United States.
Tariffs. Yeah.
Tariffs. Yeah. Trump exceeded his legal authority, apparently, to impose these broad global tariffs.
And okay.
That's what they're saying. The fucking crazy thing about this, I know they had to go through Congress and blah, blah, blah. We're back to square one.
Sort of.
Right. Instead of 10%, it's now 15%. It's going to be what for 6 months or 90, I don't know, 150 days. It's going to be, but like, what the fuck is this? It's the same bullshit. He's thumbing his nose at the people that did this. He's saying, you know what? Okay, fine. You know, you can't put tariffs on. I'll use section 122 to put tariffs on.
There's a few other sections he's going to use. He's got a lot of options. I did a video on this really quickly on Friday just because I wanted to get something out there before everyone caught on to this. But the thing is, okay, so a couple things, right? The press in this country is especially stupid, but every sort of liberal left, whatever media outlet who hates this guy for no other reason than because he's got more aura than they do, by the way. Quick to put out these stories about how the tariffs are illegal. They're being struck down. We're out of the woods. Finally, he can't hold this over us anymore. Some truth to that. You know, he's not quite as agile now, just slamming tariffs on people in the middle of the night, like I said in the video I put out. But, okay. The court's ruling was very specific. Okay. It wasn't you can't impose tariffs. It was you can't use taxes to raise money without congressional approval. And the court defines tariffs as a tax. Now what Besant or Lutnick or Trump or Kushner would say is it's not really a tax on the Americans because unlike in a place like Canada, where that cost is passed to the consumer, because America is a much more multilateral trader, there are other options, and those other options may come at a lower cost, and that lower cost may lead to lower than what you would expect, I should say, prices on people. So that's one piece. The other thing, though, is that this was actually the less extreme option than what he's going to go through now. Because once you start doing these investigations into quote unquote unfair trading practices or monopolistic practices or whatever, it's not like you have to go through any international bodies to find these people guilty of these things. It's the Americans who are going to decide. And the court said as much. Kavanaugh, who voted, by the way, to abstain or dissent, I should say, wrote the dissent. I shouldn't say abstain. He wrote the dissent. Said in his dissent that this doesn't really do anything long term. He's just going to use something that's more legally binding and more clear. And while some of those things do have caps in terms of like rates and duration, the caps are easily circumvented with certain steps and procedure. And so there's like not really any relief coming. So it's like it's sort of a fake win for a lot of countries. And I will also say that in Canada, because of Kuzma and because of a few other silos where certain trade goods are exempt from certain tariffs and certain policy and whatnot, we don't really get a break on this. Like aluminum, autos, and steel and stuff is still being taxed at the same rate. So we're not really getting much of a break. And Kuzma is coming in a few months, if not sooner. Those negotiations will start. And as we're already starting to hear whispers from the White House, they might just enter into a trade agreement with Mexico and we'll try and pick up the scraps. So like what does this do for Canada? The answer to that question is nothing. It does nothing for Canada. And what it may actually do is, because, like you said, of the flat nature of the other taxes that are coming into play now, the other tariffs that are coming into play, it may actually mean that we don't have the best deal anymore. We may have one of the worst deals now.
We have something they want, though. We have energy. I think we have fresh water. We have a lot of shit that they want, and you have to leverage that.
I'm going to tell you something. I'm going to tell you something, and the same thing. Doomberg said the same thing. I think a lot of people are starting to think about this. These guys are not governed by trade agreements to get your fresh water. They're not governed by trade agreements to get your energy. They're kidnapping world leaders. They're executing cartel members. They're not bound by anything. Certainly not anything related to us or our needs and wants.
As long as the framework exists the way it is right now, you do. Because you're going to be dealing with a foreign entity, which is Canada, and you have to deal with them.
Yeah, I could not disagree with this more. If I like stood on the chair and started stomping and screaming, I still couldn't disagree with it more. You're going to see.
Who are they dealing with right now then in the current framework?
If they decide that they want the energy from Alberta, they'll just start trading with Alberta. They'll treat Alberta like a sovereign. And we talked about this in the Doomberg interview, that there's going to come a point where if that energy is not unlocked, that there's not going to be like a discussion, a negotiation, or anything like this. And by the way, like, over here for our part, the likelihood that we keep that energy locked, I think, is pretty low. I think Carney will eventually. He will.
Don't they already deal with Alberta, because energy is a provincial matter? So
there's
nothing is. You're still dealing with a foreign entity.
That's
the reality.
But the point,
there's always going to be some
question. The question is about
government. And that's why I say the current framework, because things could change if Alberta decides to leave or whatever. But as long as things are the way they are right now, you're dealing with that.
I think the current framework is one of normalized relations with us or with anyone else when it comes to the States. And they're clearly trying to put through a large agenda that includes a big time change in the way the global economy works. Look no further than the stablecoin legislation, right? You want foreign countries to adopt the dollar and use that as, economic statecraft. Great podcast on that, by the way, on Macro Voices over the weekend. I recommend people listen to that if they haven't already.
And I just don't know, like these are things I'm just not familiar with. So the devil's in the details here. But how much oil the United States imports from Canada and how much they actually need of that, I don't know.
Me neither. And it's worth mentioning that Alberta is actually producing more barrels of oil than they ever have. It's an all-time high right now. So
and things will change over time as Venezuela ramps up, but it's going to take a long time for Venezuela to.
Yeah, decade. Yeah.
So there's a gap that Alberta can fill in that void, And that's where I'm talking about is they need this. I believe they need this. And that's, that's a carrot you have that you could dangle in front of them. Is every agreement, it's a give and take. And this could be part of, this is the give.
Yeah.
Who knows? But everything could be off the table if something happens with Alberta and Quebec. That's another one that could separate.
Yeah. Saskatchewan is also a resource monster.
Are they thinking about?
No,
but been any discussion with
again,
them?
like I don't want to like sound like I'm funneling people to the Doomberg episode, but we covered this too, and I find it interesting that he's one of the only guys to write about how if Alberta goes, Saskatchewan will follow immediately. They will not wait.
Well, if Alberta goes, why wouldn't Saskatchewan? Why wouldn't Quebec?
Exactly. It'd be the end of the Confederation. Yeah, for sure.
Correct. Quebec is getting a great deal. Their energy is mighty cheap, and a lot of other things are getting cheap.
Healthcare and pensions paid for by Alberta.
Yeah,
everyone's seen the transfer payments freak show balance sheet. Yeah, it's bad.
when the payments stop coming in because they're gone,
it's gonna be a quick tabernacle, man. Tabernacle.
It's done, and that's why. And I've been, be prepared. Get the, GTFO. I've been fucking sounding this word drum for like a year and a half now, I believe.
Yeah,
and people just need to get ready because you don't know what's gonna happen. If things happen the way they do, you got to make sure that you're able to do something for yourself and your family. And if things don't happen, well, you waste a little bit of time, but at least you got a little bit more knowledgeable about the process as a result. It's better to be prepared to have that bomb shelter than not have it.
It is true that you're going to need this soon. Like I wrote that thing last week on capital controls that went, I don't want to use the V word, but it's more viral than most of the stuff I post. And it's like the capital controls are already here. If you think you're going to be able to just walk out when the provinces leave, that's when you're going to go. That's when they're going to shut the gates.
That's why I have zero in my TFSA. Yeah. I am not actively contributing to my RSP. I buy more Bitcoin than anything else, and there's a reason I do this. Aside from my house, and I have to live somewhere. Bitcoin is it, and I'm gonna live and die by this fucking thing. I'm not just fucking, blowing smoke here. It's fucking truth for me, and I'm trying to be as agile as possible because I don't know what's gonna happen. I think I know what's gonna happen, but I've been wrong so many times in the past. I'd rather, again, like I say, I'd rather prep for the worst, and the best does happen, but versus the opposite, where I prep for the best and the worst happens because, I only have one life.
That's right. I want to answer this question in the chat from John about why is Trump still putting up with Carney's little games? Again, not to drive you to the Doomberg.
What little games are they? I'm just curious.
Well, I'm not 100% sure, but Carney is like, a little dodgy, little, MOU, but we got to check with the natives, MOU, but we got to check with this other interest group, blah, 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 net
but
zero.
This is a liberal government.
I know. and actually, John, like, I don't have an answer for that, but Doomberg has like a full 10 minutes near it's like maybe 10 minutes in the show. He did listen to it. I think he's right. I think that actually Trump and Carney get along famously. And I think that whatever games Carney is playing is only for domestic political reasons and nothing else.
Did Carney cheer when United States scored? Because his wife lives in the United States.
His wife and daughter live in the States. Yeah.
The business moved to the United States.
Yeah.
And so I'm wondering, did he, who the fuck?
I don't know.
Right?
I don't know.
What did he cheer for? He had a 100% chance of coming out on top that game, right? Whoever scored, I'm the best.
Dub.
Food prices.
Yeah.
For restaurants, up 12% year over year. Everybody else, 7.3% year over year. Canada is the highest of all the G7 nations.
It's crazy.
The next highest is Japan. Sorry, United Kingdom, my bad. United Kingdom, 4.2%. I tried looking to see what's the cause of this, right? Like, Canada imports roughly 30% of its food. Japan imports a heck of a lot more food over there. So in terms of that, Canada is growing it domestically. So there's got to be some other things, right? It's not strictly just international. But you know what? You got the tax holiday last year on the food that's no longer there.
That was a big one, apparently.
Industrial carbon tax that is there that everybody is going to pay somehow, and they are. Competition is kind of lacking in Canada. Remember, didn't we have somebody who was going to come to Canada and they just scared them away.
God, Len, that's a story you could tell 1,000 times in grocery and telecom and in a number of different silos. It was grocery.
Yeah. Which
Publix maybe or something like that. I forget.
I can't remember, but all this shit adds up, and it's not quite double than the next highest, but motherfucker, it's close.
It's high,
and you can't get away from it. Like food, you have to eat it. It's not like it's Netflix or Disney Plus, or you can fucking cancel it.
Apple Music.
Yeah, like that. Those are luxury items, right? You can't get away from it. Food, whatever. Just keep it up. It'll make us less competitive. Have less money to spend, but things are good.
It's interesting that this has now become a very, I won't say it's become mainstream, but more and more people are talking about our inflation compared to other jurisdictions, which was never the case when everyone was going through it, right? Our inflation was just a product of a global issue in markets and supply chains and all this, nonsense. Now people are starting to look at, well, why is it so high compared to everyone else? Everyone else is low. I was told in the States that the Trump administration had no idea what they were doing. Their inflation is very low. In fact, if you look at, instead of looking at instead of like plucking nonsense from, surveys and secret shopper data, whatever else the BLS does, if you look at Trueflation, which is like real time on the streets prices, it's the lowest. The U.S. inflation is the lowest it's been in forever. It's like under 1%, super low. So it's about as low as you could ever have with a central bank, at the helm. Crazy. Everyone should be looking at Trueflation, by the way. That data is free. And I think that the Trueflation Twitter account hosts a Twitter Spaces every so often, which I try and attend. They're in the morning, our time. If you ever find yourself looking for some content while you're working, it's not a bad place to spend a little bit of time. I'm going to read you something here. StatsCan reports in January 26, food inflation is 7.3% year over year. You said that, more than double the pace from 6 months ago. Huge. Highest in the G7 since 2022. Grocery prices have risen 22%. 22%? Versus 13% for other consumer prices. The worst hit is coffee. How much is coffee up in that time?
I'm not a coffee drinker.
30%. 30%. How much is beef up in that time?
That's substantially.
20%. And then you mentioned restaurants at 12. PEI food inflation is about 10.1%, by the way, on the island. How about that? Probably some of the lowest wages in the country, highest food inflation. The US, by comparison, again, this is the BLS data. I guess not BLS, but some other agency. 2.9%. Elbows up. Elbows up. How do you feel? I feel great. The problem is that the people who vote for these policies are insulated from them because they're rich. And until that changes, it's just how this is going to be. And by the way, like, you can see that there's some understanding of this at the federal level here, because we continue to just try and keep as many foreigners in the country as we can who will all vote liberal. I don't know if you saw today, but Senate committee wants to nuke the law proposed where asylum seekers would be subjected to stricter requirements and wouldn't be allowed to file for asylum after being here for more than a year as a TFW, all these things. Senate committee says, no, it violates their human rights. We are suicidally empathetic in this country. And, you can talk about, well, this is a problem with the former government, as current government's trying to fix it. It doesn't look like that to me. Maybe I'll be proven wrong, but it's already been a year. Hard to believe. Close to it.
See how fast things change. I mentioned this story before. I'm going to bring it up again. Growing up, I was born in Midtown. We moved to another part of Toronto. And when we moved to the other part of Toronto, when I moved there when I was younger, it was a place you could leave your doors open, unlock your keys. You didn't have to leave it for the people to steal, all that shit. But within 10 years or so, a little more than 10 years, it changed significantly where you couldn't leave your doors unlocked. You went for a walk at night, you could get mugged. Not all the time, but, it was not uncommon. What I'm trying to say is this is going to happen on a grander scale. It's happening. I see it more and more. And people out there think, oh, it's not going to happen here where I live. No, This shit, it happens and it spreads everywhere, and there's going to be nowhere that's going to be safe. And the only place that's going to be safe is somewhere far, far away outside the borders of Canada. And where that is going to be, you find it everywhere is a paradise for somebody else. So you have to find it. Don't fucking wait, because it's going to be coming very soon to you.
Could be right.
Mark my words.
Could be right.
And you know what? Before you notice, oh fuck, can't go to the store with just walking there. You got to go there with a fucking gun carried in your pocket or a knife or something. Like,
yeah,
it's bad, man.
We're gonna see. Where do you want to go next?
Matt Generou jumped ship.
The floor crosser.
Yeah. It was going to be leaving politics. He decided to change his mind. He's going to be coming back. The guy was in Edmonton. His writing was Edmonton, living in Vancouver, apparently.
I want to
but nobody said anything about that until now.
Before I forget, how many people has Mark Carney convinced to unretire from politics since becoming the party leader?
Unretire?
He got Fraser, right? He got Anita Anand, I think.
You're right. That's true. Okay.
This guy now was going to retire, and now he's back. How many other people did he get?
But he's put out the pasture at least two that I could come to mind.
Who did he put out? Freeland?
And yeah, those are the two that, and there could be more, but those are the two that immediately come to mind.
Okay.
So
interesting.
It's
that data point there. That's all.
Yeah. So this guy, the one thing I find interesting is nobody gave a shit before that he was living in Victoria and had his writing in somewhere in Edmonton. But then he switches. Now everybody gives a shit. You know what? If you give a shit about this, you should give about this shit all the fucking time.
Agreed.
Don't be specific. That's what somebody should have raised this fucking point a long time ago. The fact that he's still living there, it sucks, but man, you should have raised it a long time ago. So fuck that. The Terrebonne writing looks like it's going to be going to a new election, a by-election, because the Supreme Court ruled that the election from 2025 could not be counted. That had the Liberal MP that won by a single vote. And the reason why they do it, they are asking for a by-election. Elections Canada employee accidentally printed his own postal code on the return envelopes for roughly 40 mail-in ballots. So those lost ballots were never counted. And that, since it's just one vote that dictated who won the election, there's no confidence to guarantee that with those 40 votes that this Liberal MP would still have won. Maybe not. So they're going back to do this again. And when this happens, this by-election happens, because there's going to be one for Blair's old riding, there's going to be one for Freeland's old riding, which probably going to go back to Liberal
strongholds. Yeah.
This one, everyone is going to send all their fucking heavy hitters because they want to make sure, everybody wants to make sure that they win this. And really, it's going to be the two parties that are going to try to did the Bloc come out second on this? I can't remember.
Don't know.
Either way, this is going to be a huge one, because if the Liberals hold this, they're going to be awfully close to majority government after the other two stay Liberal. And so that's why they're going to look at this as a potential opportunity to say, let's not give the Liberals a majority government, or let's give them a majority government. This by-election is going to be fucking massive. All the heavy hitters are going to be there doing their thing. They're going to pump so much money into this to try to make this hold for the Liberals or flip to something else. This is going to be fun to watch. Bloc was in second, apparently, according to Boomer. So
let's watch this video. Do you see the name on the jersey?
No.
Look hard.
Cougars?
Underneath it. Where are they from?
I can't see a Terrebonne.
Terrebonne. The Prime Minister was there yesterday. Yeah.
Yeah, so it makes sense. They're not going to have this by-election for 6 months, though.
Yeah, he's there already. He's there already. So interesting stuff, man. You are 100% right about your thoughts there. I can't believe he's there already.
He's going to Australia, so he's got to do something here, right?
Nice. Okay.
By the way, Australia is a good time to go. It's kind of like the end of the summer over there. So it's not super hot. If you don't like that type of weather, you can still get all the fresh fruit and everything. Yeah, going to Australia, man. Like I can't say enough about that. It's definitely a good place to go, a good time of year to go. let's talk about this Lebanese opioid dealer. And
sure, why not? Sounds like something up for the Canadian Bitcoiners
podcast. We're always fucking talking about this one. This is a convicted drug dealer has been granted a chance to delay or avoid his deportation from Canada due to a potential lung cancer diagnosis. And he was initially deported following a series of criminal convictions related to drug trafficking. And his legal team, they argued successfully, by the way, that a newly discovered suspicious mass on his lung required urgent investigation and potential treatment that would not be available or accessible if he were forced to return to Lebanon at this time. So CBSA, they were forced by the federal courts, to pause the removal of this guy to allow for a proper medical assessment. And they say that deportation, while a life-threatening illness is suspected, could constitute, quote-unquote, irreparable harm, given the current instability of the Lebanese healthcare system. And they noted Canada's commitment to international human rights obligations, specifically to the rights and the life and protection against cruel and unusual treatment, and that takes precedence until his medical status is clarified.
Why didn't they offer him MAID?
He's not asking for it.
I don't care. No one who gets offered MAID asks for it. Why didn't they offer him MAID? Is that not a humane treatment?
They gotta get this thing.
I don't know. It's not, I think it is humane. Why don't we kill him? Why don't we have him? Why don't we assist in his death? Well, I mean, that's humane, is it not?
All I know is that they're trying to evaluate his medical
condition. Long does it take someone who's getting the same scan, who's Canadian born, to get that scan?
I don't know.
Of course. I mean, we know. We don't have to say it.
I do know that if you have one more person added to the system, it slightly increases the wait time for everybody. It's just, it's a longer line versus not having it. That's.
I hate this. I hate this story. I feel bad for the guy. Shouldn't, nobody wants to hear that for anybody. But like, what are we doing? We're going to do this for every single person who comes into the country?
Well, maybe we got another beauty case here.
Every single opioid dealer is going to get a free pass because they're sick.
Well, there's this one here. This is another beauty case. The federal court, they decided to weigh in on a case that granted a new hearing to an immigrant who was facing the loss of the Canadian citizenship. Why? Because this person allegedly used false documents back in the day. And the government's initial decision to revoke the citizenship did not sufficiently allow the individual to address the specific evidence of fraud brought against them. So they're not truly satisfied there was fraud brought against them. This guy's been living in Canada for years after obtaining citizenship, and the authorities later claimed that the original application was based on fabricated background or identity from the home country. So the court ruled that because the consequences of losing the citizenship is so severe, often leading to statelessness or immediate deportation, the individual is entitled to a fair and transparent redetermination process. So the guy lied on his application way back when, false documents, and now they, let's give him another chance. Let's just examine this to make certain that he didn't try to fool us. What's the value of the citizenship?
I mean, what are we talking about here? What is this? Where else do we apply this standard? Like, we don't apply it. We don't apply it if you try and get a job at Zellers. We don't apply it if you apply for a university. We don't apply it anywhere. But here, this is what we're doing.
Yeah. Anyway, let's keep this moving. It's just a great bunch of stories. Canada is opening up the doors to a new set of express entry categories for
this has to be the most psycho story we've done on this show in a year. It's got to be close.
This is a beauty. So they're going to be trying to recruit highly skilled foreign military applicants to be recruited for the Canadian Armed Forces, for military doctors, nurses, pilots, shit like that. And also they're going to be supporting the sovereignty and security of the country. They're going to be bringing in outsiders to make up part of the military. This strategy worked oh so well for the Romans back in the day. Between this and the currency and economy that plummeted.
Amazing.
Yeah, history, I guess, does repeat itself over time. This is beauty for you. So we have the Canadian Armed Forces, Joey. The Canadian Armed Forces. Change one letter in this, it becomes the Canadian Armed Forces, right? I believe that's a CBP original. You could print that shirt if you want. Go ahead. The Canadian Armed Forces, right? Just one letter change.
The CSIS agent assigned to my file is just furiously taking notes right now.
Think about it. There's a conflict going on, right? There's a conflict. You got the sergeant, okay, Sergeant Ahmed, you got to take that hill 135 over there. Do you mind doing it over? Sorry, Captain Smith. It's Ramadan. Don't have much energy. Catch me after the fucking sun goes down and after prayer. Maybe I'll take the hill over. That's what's gonna come to, man. This is the fucking bullshit. Where'd you fucking go, Joey? This is the fucking bullshit we have. Look at that.
Oh god.
So change the one letter, the one fucking letter, and that's what we got.
Why? Okay. Like, remember we used to talk about how people didn't realize or understand like why their life was getting away from them because they were too busy with this sort of day-to-day minutia and the machinations of their lives, right? They're worried about their anniversary, they're worried about their kid's report card, they're worried about their job. They don't realize the money's getting away from them. Now, there's a whole other set of policies that people can't pay attention to that are arguably just as bad. Like bringing in foreign mercenaries to staff your military.
This is the Romans fucking did this.
This was the end of it was the end of the empire for them. Yeah. And here we are 2,000 years later.
They
doing the same thing.
They were led by like generals that were foreign, like the people that they conquered. And it wasn't a cohesive unit. Let's just go there.
Great way to put it. Very politically correct.
Alberta.
That is a shocking story. People should be paying more attention to that. And if you don't understand why, well, Len just said, go look at the history of Rome. Okay. Like the meme says, guys, think about Rome at least an hour a day, whatever it was. Go read up. Tell me how that turned out. Tell me what happened. Tell me if you notice any similarities. Can you connect the dots on that at all? Yeah, I suspect you probably can. I wish you couldn't, but I think you probably can.
Let's talk about Alberta. Last story I have. They're going to be going to a referendum on October 19th. And there's 9 questions on this referendum. And I'm going to just rhyme off all of them. Anyways, one says, should Alberta take more control over immigration to decrease intake to sustainable levels and prioritize economic immigrants? Should provincially funded programs like health, education, social services be restricted only to Canadian citizens, permanent residents, and those with an Alberta approved status? Should non-permanent residents be required to live in Alberta for at least 12 months before they qualify for social assistance programs? Should the province charge a reasonable fee or premium to non-permanent residents and their families for using the healthcare and education system? And this is a good one. Should Alberta require proof of citizenship to vote in provincial elections? Why the fuck not? I don't know. Anyways,
that's not. I thought that was already the case in.
It's on the referendum question.
I think it is in Ontario. Is it not? I'm pretty sure. I've always had to show ID or my ticket.
Well, no, citizenship proof is. They're asking for passport or birth certificate. Oh. All you have to prove is your identity, that you match the name.
Didn't catch that. Okay, yeah, I understood.
There also just four other questions. Should provincial governments rather in Ottawa select justices for provincial superior courts? Should Alberta work with other provinces to abolish the federal Senate? Should provinces be allowed to opt out of federal programs like national dental and pharmacare and receive the equivalent cash funding to run their own programs? And last but not least, should provincial laws have priority over federal laws in areas of shared or provincial jurisdiction?
I love those last 4 questions. Those are
October.
Good. Abolish the Senate. Abolish the Senate?
They're the only ones that they elect. A senator in waiting kind of thing.
Yeah, I want to see the senators. Yeah, I want to see the federal Senate. I want to be rid of the federal Senate. 100%.
You don't think there's a need for that for a sober second thought?
They're totally politicized. No. You have senators proposing bills for broad online surveillance. Julie, Duchenne, whatever her last name is. Like that's not a sober second thought.
If but senators could propose laws as long as there's no cost. Like they can't do like raise taxes and shit like that. They don't have the authority to do that.
I want them
but
gone.
they have the ability to.
I want them gone. I want them gone, and I want the provinces to be able to.
If it's a shitty bill, it should be defeated by the House.
Yeah, but it won't be. The problem is somebody in the House wants it, but nobody wants to wear it, so they make the senator who's unelected and insulated wear it.
Then everybody has the blood in their hands if they don't.
Yeah, I love this. I hope all those changes get yesed. I think they probably will. To be honest with you, it's hard to vote against any of those. Who's voting against any of that? Maybe the Senate one, maybe the health and dental one. People who are not like wise to the equalization payments thing might vote against it, but I mean, if you're an Albertan, what how warped does your brain have to be to not want those things to pass at this point? You're having your power stomped on basically at every turn by the Laurentian elite, right? You call them whatever you want, but Laurentian elite's probably the best term for what's happening here. I would say you want to see all those pass. I didn't realize that they thought the Senate. Like I'm surprised to see that in the referendum. That's going to be a fun result. When is that?
October 19th.
Can't wait.
All right, Hamilton versus Brampton Man segment.
Brought to you by Twan, our buddy Twan, 256 heat. My miner's running right now. You can't hear it. It's keeping the room warm. I have the window open because I want to burp this room, as the saying goes. So it's running at what is called the low temperature control, I think. So when the room gets to a certain temperature, you can have your miner turn on or off, run hotter, run cooler, more wattage, more hash, more fun. Or you can run it quiet like I am right now. It's running at about, if I had to guess, like 700 watts, 800 watts, something like that. And I run it every week. You can never hear it. It's mining at all times. You can mine in a pool. You can mine solo. You can mine in your garage. You can mine in your basement. You can mine in your bedroom. Heats the room. When I have guests over, it heats the basement. I just open the door and turn Twan's attachment into the bigger space there. And there's always more coming from 256 heat because Twan is obsessed with mining and obsessed with building and obsessed with iterating. If you'd been to his house, you'd know that. You haven't, but we have. And that's why we partner with him. So if you haven't picked one of these things up yet, what are you waiting for, man? 256heat.com. Twan will get on the horn with you. I get on the call with you. Set something up for you that works. Look at your hydro costs, look at your room, look at your square footage, all that stuff. Custom solutions, white glove service. And by the way, the thing looks fucking sick. So pay him a visit, 256heat.com.
A couple of interesting stories here. So the first we have, back in September last year, police executed a search warrant at a residence. And the warrant was following a joint investigation between police and CBSA into the unauthorized possession of prohibited weapons. And the police, they got into the residence and they just didn't find a drug stash. They found a fully operational 3D printing shop. This guy, actually a couple of guys, they were DIYing firearms. These guys were fucking printing firearms. They actually, as well, they had counterfeit US currency, modified paintball guns, imitation firearms, modified ammunition, and they were printing a fuckload of guns, man. Like, this is interesting stuff what people are doing. I find it rather interesting. So yeah, that's the one story, and this happened just late last year. So that's
okay. So they went in there for drugs and found a 3D printing factory.
3D printer factory, counterfeit currency, modified paintball guns. Yeah, like the guy was fucking printing guns, man. Like, what the fuck?
Working hard.
So the next one is this man was killed over a parking spot, and this guy was on his way to work, stopped at a convenience store to buy some cigs, and in the parking lot he became involved in a verbal dispute with another man that witnessed, and they believe that they were fighting over a parking spot. Got physical. Guy was attacked by the dude, and he was left on the ground and found shortly thereafter, rushed to hospital, died 3 days later.
Wow.
Taken off life support.
How old was the guy?
50 years old. And
So
that
old.
died, and a 25-year-old was the one that killed him, charged with manslaughter. That happened just last month.
Wow. Wow, really?
So we had the fight for the parking spot, which ended up in somebody getting killed, or the guys printing guns at their home. And a couple interesting stories. One is the Hamilton, one is the Brampton man.
How did I not know that story? This is a tough one. The Brampton man is not usually like a reactionary, violent person, you know. But
I love the thought process here that you're doing it externally.
Well, I try and I want to give people a look into the mind. This is what genius looks like. It sounds like. The Brampton man not usually that violent, reactionary maybe, but violent I don't know. Also, the Brampton man really not known for feats of strength, like killing in the parking lot, right? So unless he had a weapon, seems unlikely that he'd be able to overpower a 50-year-old guy. So I'm not sure about that for now. The problem is the Brampton man also not that enterprising. So he's, having the 3D printer, printing guns and IDs and cash and drugs and all this other stuff, like also unlikely. But I think probably that it was the Brampton guy who's more likely to kill a dude in the parking lot, like pushing him or something. And the guy just takes a weird fall, like it's pure chance. It seems to me the Brampton guy would not be assembling a small fleet of 3D printers and other contraband production items. So I'm going to go with the Brampton man, parking lot murderer, Hamilton man, 3D printing farm.
So you're correct. So nice. Indeed, the guy that died, geez, if it didn't even give his name, they said he has a heart of gold. This is his girlfriend said.
The killer?
No, the girlfriend of the guy that was killed.
Oh, so, okay.
Had a heart. Anyways, a 25-year-old Abdi Fattah Ahmed was charged.
Fucking nailed it. Nailed it.
The other one, it's two guys, actually a guy and a gal. Grant Skidmore, 32 of Hamilton.
Skidmore. Perfect. Skidmore. Okay.
And Alexandra Prime, 40 from Port Dover.
Damn.
And,
Port Dover's a crazy place, man. Port Dover.
Golf there. Nice area.
Yeah. Port Dover, the beach was like such a good spot to go, like bring your girlfriend in high school. Like if you had one buddy with a car, you'd all just pile in. My buddy John had like an old Cuddy. And so we'd pile into his navy blue Cuddy and drive out to Port Dover and then just like hang out at the beach all day, play mini putt and come back home. It was a good way to spend the day. Now, I think I went there with Ken's when I was like, oh shit, I must be like 26 probably. It's a long time ago. And we got there and it was nothing but like cigs and Corona bathing suits.
Was everywhere. It on a Friday the 13th or no?
No, it was on like a Thursday morning or something. Like I know not to go on Friday the 13th. I dated a girl whose dad was a big motorcycle guy, so I know that much. And I couldn't believe it. The place had fallen so far in the few years in between the high school days and my mid 20s. It just became this like hub of Zellers and Walmart outcasts. Everyone, every kind of beer brand that ever made a bathing suit, it was on the beach that day. And not a single BMI with a 2-handle in sight. Just 3s and 4s everywhere.
They got a pretty good golf course nearby.
Do they?
Dover Golf or something. Yeah, I played there 3-4 years ago. I had a good time. It's
nice.
Not a bad course.
The hotel restaurant there is pretty good, and everyone goes to that place on the beach, the fish place, which is also apparently pretty good. I've been to both, but I couldn't tell you if they're good or not.
Have you been to Brampton?
I haven't. Brampton Beach? No.
Have you? I guess it would be Heart Lake. That's what it probably be located. That's my guess. But
I haven't been.
We should do a show. A remote show
live in Brampton. We're doing it at the Subway Home Depot in the heart of Brampton.
The last segment of the show, we can't do it live. Though.
No, we'll do it in the car.
Oh, we just pre-record that.
Well, we'll pre-record it and give it to Andre to edit, to sharpen up like he did the Doomberg episode. He'll put some B-roll in there for us.
And that's it, Joey. I have nothing else to add.
Let's get out of here. Go watch the Doomberg episode. If you haven't watched that already, look out for the Scott Horton episode. Hopefully next week if we get it booked this week. If not, then I'll tell you guys on Twitter or something what the plan is there. And until we see each other again, my friends, take care of yourself.